Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I want y'all to meet Rodney, 75-year-old retiree from Seattle, Washington. We walk just about every morning, man. We formed a great relationship over here because you need other expats, I think. But the first thing I want to ask you, Rodney, is your decision to come to the Philippines wasn't very popular among your friends and family, was it?
No, it really wasn't, Calvin. And, I think that's something, if you're making a decision to go live in any country that's not the U.S. or have a relationship with someone who's not from your culture and from your part of society, I think you have to realize that there's going to be some negative reaction to that. And it's often from family. Sometimes it's very genuinely because they care about you, want you to be safe, and that kind of thing. And some of it, I think, is, that they're worried about losing connection with you, worried about losing their relationship with you. But you can work on that and make that a positive thing. It's just it takes some time, and they have to learn that what you're doing is not a negative for them.
Yeah. Now, the people who gave you the problems, have they ever been to the Philippines?
No. They tend not to be world travelers, or their experience is very limited to the area where they live. I grew up in North Carolina, more conservative area. Been living in Seattle for the last 30-some years, and some of my family, my kids are there, and so on. But they just don't really understand why I have this desire or this excitement about going overseas, living in another country, having a relationship with other people other than Americans. It's just so foreign to them that it's hard for them to accept.
Yeah. Now I'm not talking about today, obviously, because I've seen you here a couple of times, but this was your first time coming to the Philippines, right?
Yes,
you had never come here before.
Right, that's correct.
Now, has it met your expectations? Has it exceeded it? Are you underwhelmed? What can you tell the viewers about that?
Well, part of this, my answer is going to be related to kind of the person that I am. I love adventure. I love new things. I love the excitement of experiencing new things in my life. And so coming here was not, I was not at all concerned about it, not scared of it. And I think what I've found is there's some adjustments to make, very definitely. It's a different culture, different speed, different foods, and all those things are adjustments you have to make when you go to any country outside of the U.S. But I would say I'm very happy with it. I've made those adjustments pretty much, and have a wonderful relationship here, and that helps a lot. She's very understanding of the fact that I'm a foreigner and I'm not used to some things here, and she's very patient with me. So, I'd say my general feeling is I'm happier than I am sad about coming here, for sure.
Yeah, well, good. Well, now that you're talking about your relationship, I think this is something that a lot of people kind of are uncomfortable with, Westerners, because I know you've got a good relationship, but she's 23. Right. Okay, you're 75. Why do you think people get so outraged at that? Do you have any idea?
Sure. I think in general, there's a stigma related to it, which is there's the dirty old man or the young gold digger, kind of stuff that gets attached to this stuff.
Yeah.
But like other things in our society, Calvin, gay marriage, interracial marriage, all those things that one time were taboo,
right,
they were thought of as something bad. People couldn't accept them, and over time, I think the age gap stigma will eventually go away. But right now, it's there, and we have to deal with it, both in the U.S. for me and here with my girlfriend. We get stared at a lot. She gets gossiped about a lot, around her neighborhood and family, and it's really tough. It's really too bad, but it's something you'll have to deal with here. If there's a large gap of age between you and your sweetheart.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you. You recognized me at the Mawani.
Yeah.
And we took a picture, and I put it on my community page. And when they saw Christine, is it Christine or Christina?
Christine.
Their jaws dropped. They're like, wow, if he can get a beautiful woman like that, what can I do? But, you know, you make a great point about interracial marriage and gay marriage, but this age gap thing just seems to be hanging around.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to address it. They're certainly not going to make any legislation about it. But honestly, man, because you came to my meet and greet, and I took a video of you and Christine, and you just didn't seem out of the ordinary to me. Maybe because I'm used to it. Is that what you think?
Yeah, and I'm so comfortable with it, Calvin. That's the thing. I don't think about it anymore. I've been with Christine now off and on for the last year in person, and we've had a relationship for about 30 months now.
You just celebrated
we celebrated our 30th monthsary.
Yeah, that's what they call it over here.
Is a thing here that I didn't understand in the States, but anyway, every month is a celebration, which is nice. You know, it's really a reminder that.
How do you?
I'm quite comfortable with her. She's a wonderful person, and she and I get along great, and we just so I feel don't really react much to the age thing or people's comments about it.
Now that kind of goes into my next question about what happens to men when they come over here, because how are you able to handle such a young woman? I mean, how are you able to? Hello, good morning. How are you able to keep up with her? I mean, she's 23. That's like what, 52
years.
Now because I remember I tell people all the time, because you've been following me. How long you been following my channel?
Well, over 2 years. So
okay.
Almost 3. Actually.
Yeah. So when I say you don't come to the Philippines to retire, you come to rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Have you rejuvenated over here?
Yeah, I think of it as we don't retire, we refire.
Yeah.
And so there's some issues with the age gap in terms of my ability to be intimate with her and so on. But we overcome that. We have our ways, and she knew from the very beginning what my age was and what that meant in terms of physical stuff. And but I think she really appreciates the fact that, and I'm a good person. That's what she hoped to be with, a good person. And so that's more than anything is made our relationship very positive, and we don't worry too much about the other stuff. We just get along really good and understand each other and really love each other.
Yeah, I'm not really even talking about the age gap anymore, because I have a hard time keeping up with you. I'm 15 years younger, 16 years younger than you, and I always tell you this all the time because I have nothing to gain from it. When I see you riding in, when I'm with you, we talk, you don't bring into my mind a 75-year-old man. You seem so much younger. Have you always been this way? What has the Philippines enhanced that any?
Yeah, well, a couple of answers to that. First, I think there's no question that 50 to 75% of my more youthful look is from heredity. Yeah. My father's family, they all lived into their 90s. They all looked pretty good doing it, So I think I'm blessed with that. And the other factors really have more to do with, I think, that I try hard to stay healthy. The walking, and that's why I really appreciate you and I hooked up, because you're somebody I can walk with. I love our conversations. Yeah. You've become a really good friend, and that, by the way, is important, to have good friends in your life, and don't isolate yourself from the world. Wow. Over here.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
The other thing is attitude. I just have always had a very positive attitude about life. I think that keeps me younger, thinking younger. I'm physically able, mentally able, and I enjoy life. I mean, every day I get up thinking this is going to be an interesting day. And it always is. So I think that's part of the reason that I'm more youthful looking, and I certainly feel it. I feel in my mind that I'm 26, and so being with a 23-year-old, no problem.
Absolutely, Now, what have been some of the, well, let's stay on the healthy thing real quick. So what about the food? Has your diet changed? Because a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't like the food here. What's been your experience with that? Because we're right behind Mr. C's. I know they've got some pretty good food.
Yeah, and
right?
I've been there often.
Yeah.
So it's a really good place, and if you're here in San Carlos City, you should definitely come and eat
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna pan over and show them because, well, this right behind these green buildings, that's the kitchens, but they've got an outdoor restaurant now. Mr. C's is pretty popular. They've got another inside restaurant. Have you eaten there before, Rodney?
I have, yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't think it's good as this one.
Right.
Different menu. This one really suits me. You get to sit outside in it. On nice days, it's really nothing better than anything special.
And I like their hamburgers.
Yeah.
But what has been a challenge over here? Does the heat bother you?
You know, let me answer your question quickly about health and you know, food and stuff like that. I can find most of the food I want, not everything, but I'm a sweetaholic.
Yeah,
the reason I work really hard to stay healthy is I love sweets. I don't get them here so much. And the food has not got as much sugar in it, so I end up always losing a little weight, and probably, you know, when I go back to visit my family in the States, I'm a little healthier, actually.
Yeah.
So that's been good for me.
Have you tried the bakeries here? Have you tried the fresh bread? Because it's delicious, and a lot of it's sweet.
Yeah.
If you get it at the right time.
Yeah. No, I think, again, the food here, most everything you want, even though San Carlos City is not, you know, a large city and doesn't have the kind of supermarkets that Cebu or Manila, some of those places have, you can get by. And I'm also very lucky because Christine is a great cook, and so she feeds me well. So,
at that young of an age, see, I try to tell people that they're a lot more mature, right?
Absolutely.
Because they start out a lot earlier.
Well, they learn a lot. She's from the province, you know, and she learned at an early age to help out with things in the family, which includes, you know, cleaning, cooking, washing the clothes, all that. She knows how to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And she does it. Much to my chagrin, sometimes I'm you know, grew up in the States where the man's supposed to help out with the housework, but he won't let me.
That's my experience. That's my experience too.
And I just let it go. It's one of those things you have to adjust to.
What has surprised you, especially about San Carlos City? This place is beautiful, right?
Yeah. Well, it's really not kind of on the map as far as where people might think about going, but it's a really nice smaller town. This area that we walk in, Calvin, is about as beautiful a spot as I've ever walked. Quite honestly, I love coming out here to walk. I walk in the morning with you, and I walk in the evening with Christine.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, there are people out here playing sports, families having picnics. It's just got an atmosphere that's really wonderful. And, you know, the city's old. It's an old city. Big Spanish influence. A lot of the architecture is quite beautiful if you enjoy the Spanish type architecture. I would say this is a place people should consider if they don't want to live in a big city. This is definitely a good place.
So do you plan, before we end the interview, the last question I asked you, do you plan on retiring here or going back and forth? What's your plans for the Philippines?
Yeah, so I might be a little different than some foreigners. I have family in the U.S., sisters, nieces, and nephews. I have 2 daughters and a stepson. I'm not going to just give them up and come here full time.
Right.
Christine knows that. She accepts that. She's okay with that. I intend to spend most of my time here, and with visits to the U.S. a couple of times a year, to be sure that my family there, that I can be with my family there, because I love them too, and I would miss them if I didn't do that. So I hope to be able to keep a foot in both countries, quite honestly.
Well, thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it. You know, I just wanted to kind of get your perspective because I know people are tired of hearing me. They know I'm a cheerleader of this place.
Yeah.
I like people to co-sign, and you know, place is perfect, obviously, but there's a lot worse places.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, the Philippines has exceeded my expectations because all you get is bad news about the Philippines in the West.
Yeah.
But when you finally come over here and boots on the ground, it's a whole lot different, man. You got beautiful weather, beautiful beaches, low cost of living, of course, the beautiful women.
Yeah.
Do you feel welcome here?
Oh, absolutely. The warmest, friendliest people here. Christine's family just totally accepts me and embraces me. And I find people like when we walk in the morning, people say hello to us. They're very friendly. And that's true all day. And wherever I go, I get shouted at, you know, good morning, sir. You know, it's really, really very nice. Have
you ever had any problems? Anybody try to rob you? You ever had your been pickpocketed or anything?
No, I feel quite safe here. I think you shared that with on one of your vlogs, that it's a pretty safe place, and I've experienced that, Calvin. I'm not worried about people breaking into our home. I'm not worried about being robbed or attacked.
Yeah.
I just think this is not the city where that happens.
Does that surprise you, though, being in a place like the Philippines? You probably thought it's probably more dangerous over here, and
yeah,
you'd be targeted because you're a rich foreigner and everything. Because when it comes down to it, we are rich compared to a lot of people over here. You may not think you are, but that's the way they look at you.
No, that's true. And I think the first few times I went to an ATM to get money out, I was a little nervous about it.
Well, thank you so much, Rodney.
Looking around, but
there's
there's guards
everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can feel pretty safe with that.
And I always try to tip the guards, not with money. I buy them a Coke, because a lot of times they stand around, they're thirsty, they can't move any place.
Yeah, it's a terrible job, I think.
Yeah, thanks again. I appreciate it. If you're in America, it's getting late, before you let your head hit the pillow, please find somebody to help. If you don't want them late grocery runs, beer runs, weed runs, just getting off second shift, or you're on your lunch break, you see somebody on the street or wherever you see them, buy them something to eat, buy them something to drink, give them a few dollars. If you're in the Philippines, it's early, it's about 7:30. Not a day goes by, I don't help somebody. What do you think about when you see a lot of people out in the street panhandling and begging? Do you ever give them anything, or you just keep going?
Yeah, well, part of my answer, Calvin, is, as you know, my work in America was with nonprofit organizations, with charities that helped people. So my whole kind of mentality, and the reason I did that is I have that in my nature of helping people, and I enjoy it, and absolutely do. I mean, I give the motor cab drivers a little more than the fare. I try to, recognize who the good ones from the bad ones are, because it's not always easy to tell, and
that's right.
Sometimes you got to give to everybody. Make sure you help those who really need it. But yeah, I'm very generous and kind to people, and I think that's another reason I'm more youthful looking. I think life comes back to you what you give to it, and if you give kindness, if you're generous with people, if you care about people, you're going to be taken care of, I believe. And that's true with your physical and mental and spiritual side as well. So
absolutely,
I think kindness pays back. It really helps more the people who give than those who are helped. I truly believe that.
Well, tonight we'll have our 1,000 peso pandemic giveaway. Join as we do every Friday night at 8 p.m. to help Filipinos during the lockdowns and the pandemic, because the pandemic officially is not over. Although,
people are still hurting from it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to take a while to recover. But see, one thing about the Philippines is they'll never show it. See, they always put up a good front on the outside.
Yeah.
But see, we know better. Yeah. We know that people haven't recovered at all over here.
No.
See, so every little bit helps, because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. When we help other people, we help ourselves. Take care, stay safe, stay COVID free. I'll see you next time.